Welcome back. Well, yes, Adewale Adeoye joins us this morning. He's a journalist and a former deputy news editor. And to continue our focus on this registration of the APC, no longer a merger. They moved from a merger to a political party now. And excited they are, expectedly so. But, I mean, Prof was talking about, look, there will be some teething problems ahead. But Mr. Fashakin, very optimistic, perhaps doesn't see that happening. But what do you see happening with this registration now?
Well, I think the registration is a very good step forward. You know, it has also shown that when people are consistent, you know, about what they what they believe in, they should not give up. Because at a point there was that fear that, you know, APC will not be registered. But I think through the perseverance of those that are behind the party, you know, they are able to have their way. And I also think we should also realize that INEC should be given some level of credit, you know, because we are used to electoral system that, you know, electoral commissions that have been manipulated over the years. But for INEC to have been able to stand its ground and ensure that APC, you know, was registered, I think that is, you know, a kind of a bonus for, you know, the struggle for
why did you say stand its ground? Sorry to cut you there, but I'm a little taken aback with the use of the word stand its ground. To register
because you
APC.
could see all sort of manipulations, you know, before APC was registered. People coming up with all sort of acronyms, you know, going to court and to ensure that, you know, APC was not registered. And I think if perhaps, you know, the INEC chairman had not, you know, been able to insist that, you know, APC will be registered, and also given his background, you know, his populist background, I think it was a bonus. If it had been another person, probably that was not interested in registering the APC, it would have been a different story.
Talking about those other parties that came up with the same acronym and all that, but they claim they sent in their letter first to INEC. They notified INEC first. So why would INEC go ahead and register?
It was a calculated attempt to ensure that APC was never registered. We all know that, you know. So, but at the end of the day, I think we should give credit to INEC too. That at the end of the day, APC was able to get the certificate.
But those guys are in court.
Yeah, I don't think they're ever going to get anywhere.
Okay, you know. But I've got it's Hope Ugbon here says, look, APC seems to be good at tagging you a devil if you are in PDP, and the saint if the same devil joins APC. You know, there'll be perceptions across the board, but what do you think of this one?
Yeah, well, people tend to say that the PDP and APC are the same, but for me, I don't think so. You know, in terms of form, they might look the same, but I think in terms of content, they are different.
Even though you had some former members of PDP who are now in APC and different parties coming together. Yeah,
for instance, let us take a look about what is going on, you know, in the ACN states. You know, look at Lagos. We are talking about the Atlantic City. We are talking about reforms. In fact, Lagos has become a reference point even for international agencies. You know, if you go to Ekiti State, you know, the first state that was able to introduce social security in the history of Nigeria. You know, if you go to Osun State, which has also introduced social security, look at construction of roads, highways going up all over the southwest.
So I think it's also happening in some PDP states. So it's not only some of these.
I have been to so many PDP states, and I think they are mostly overwhelmed by political instabilities. You know, that has made it very difficult
by
for them
one or two.
No, for instance, if you go to, you know, Yobe State, you know, I mean, if you go to Rivers State, you know, go to Sokoto State, you see that there are all sorts of crises that make it very difficult for.
But you have Akwa Ibom, you have Enugu, you have
but even in Akwa Ibom, they have a lot of political problems, you know.
But development is going on.
Yeah, but it's minimal compared with what you are seeing in the ACN state. And I think the whole world stands as witnesses to see what is going on in the southwest state. That is a reference point for development.
How is that
a lot of people would disagree with you about that.
Yeah, have you been to Ibadan recently? You know, Ibadan used to be the dirtiest city in West Africa. But if you go to Ibadan today, you know, you see a lot of changes by mere going through the streets. No, look at Ogun State. You know, the governor just said about
sweep the streets and then massive construction.
Yeah, you see, shopping malls. You know, one of the biggest in West Africa is being built in Ibadan. You know, and if you go to Osun State, look at the road construction. Look at Ogun State. The governor just made a statement that before December, you know, 7 bridges will be built. I mean, that is quite commendable.
Is it also reasonable to say that, because I mean, so many people say, look, media is concentrated in the southwest, and so you will always have every tendency to report any little thing or any little different thing that they do right. as opposed to other parts of the country where even if much development goes on there, it's not properly focused on, as you see them focus on down south.
Well, every state government has access to the media. The federal government that is located in Abuja has access to the media, and you read a lot about what is going on, as far as the federal government is concerned. So I don't think that is a problem. And also when you look at the fact that at the time we had PDP in the southwest states, and of course, the southwest was, had a very bad media, even though, the media is controlling the Ibadan, Lagos media, At the same time, we had PDP in those states, yet it was a very bad report because they were not actually meeting the aspirations and wishes of the people. But it's a different ball game now.
Not because the parties that were, because the accusation is not just that the media is concentrated in the southwest. They also believe they're in the hands of some people, powerful political elements who own part of the media. Do you agree with them?
I don't agree with that. If you look at the structure of the ownership of media, take Punch for instance. I mean, they are not politicians. Take Vanguard. They are not politicians. So I think these people are just trying to raise this issue just to as a kind of create diversion. The fact of the matter is that people are seeing the transformation that is taking place. You can see them, you can feel them. Even if the media refuses to report these things, there are realities that nobody can ignore.
Okay. Now, so you're talking about, I want to take you back again to INEC and what you said, what you meant by standing their ground. Because, I mean, if court injunctions had given them reason not to register the APC, the All Progressive Congress, I think it's very important that we differentiate which one we're talking about. If they're giving them reason not to register the party, do you see INEC going contrary to court orders only and simply because it wishes to show that it's standing its ground?
Yeah, but if you are going to court to argue that APC should not be registered, it has to be based on strength of an argument that is convincing. And I think any responsible judge will know that, I mean, there's no way you can defend such a position in a plural and democratic society like ours.
So it was more about the parties being able to, because some people
the party has a very good case.
Some people have said that, that INEC should be probed and they want to see if due process was followed in all of this.
Oh, I don't know what they mean by due process because the guidelines for registration of political parties are there, as stated by INEC. And I think APC was able to meet substantially the requirements. So there's no basis for INEC not to have registered APC in the first place.
Let's go to the party itself. Do you see the APC becoming, the All Progressive Congress becoming larger than the sum of its parts?
Yeah, for me, I think the registration of the APC, is a good step forward, but it is not the end. They still have a lot of work to do. Because we have noticed that there is crisis in the PDP, but that does not mean that PDP is going to die. We still have a long time. We still have almost close to 2 years before the presidential elections. There are still rooms for alignment and realignments, and so many things can still happen. We are still waiting for the APC convention, for instance. And also, I think for most Nigerians, it's not just the name that is important, but what is the agenda that the APC really wants to offer for them.
And that's where Victor comes in. He says here, you add it to your comment, he says, allowing the cross-carpeting from other parties to the APC, is that not serving Nigerians the same old meal in a different dish?
Yeah. So I think this is now left for the APC to be able to convince Nigerians that in terms of its economic policies, there is going to be a paradigm shift. In terms of its policies on environment, in terms of its policies on security, in terms of its policies on how to put food, on the table of every Nigerian. And also, looking at the problem of security, of terrorism, kidnapping, what is the agenda of the APC? I think those are the issues that are more important. Any governor can move from one party to the other. But what is important for the APC to form an enduring alliance with the Nigerian people and to be able to convince them that it is a credible alternative compared with the PDP. I think that's what most Nigerians are waiting for. APC has been registered fine, but what is the agenda of the APC that will make it fundamentally different, from the PDP?
Now, I was just going to ask you, in terms of something definitely, as someone who's watched the political sphere for a while, how do you see APGA fitting into all of this? Just yesterday we saw the national chairman of APGA saying that, they're not there, but we've seen